Welcome to Detroit in Black and White, our Friday edition. Good evening, Jim Nardone.
Good evening.
Allan Lengel from Dayline, Detroit.
Hello. Good evening.
And resident attorney, Vanessa Moss. Good evening.
Happy Friday. I'm going to give a shout out to all of those that watch Detroit in Black and White, those that are listening to it on all of the podcast platforms. Listen, we want you to participate. We want you to comment. We want you to hit that link and join us. But you know what? We want you to do something that is totally free. We want you to like, subscribe, and share. Like, subscribe, and share, and tell all your folks about the greatest show on this YouTube streets. I want to give a shout out to one of our regular viewers, Janet Overall. Today is her birthday. Happy birthday, and happy birthday to anybody else that is a part of the Detroit and Black and White family.
Happy birthday. Okay.
Happy birthday, hey, Jill Tasmanian. Hello to you guys. Go ahead.
While we was waiting for the show to start, Allan threw out on the table about the crime stats in Detroit, and we was getting into a little debate.
Oh, wow. Y'all must have heard my conversation with Eric Brown yesterday about those crime stats.
Now, we wasn't listening. We didn't want to hear you and Eric Brown debating. We didn't want to hear that. But the bottom line here's the question. Are you impressed with the crime stats? Because I felt, and I agreed with Mike Cox when he was on the show, when he said that's just basically he said it in a nice way, a bunch of bullshit.
Oh, I agree. And I think our viewers feel the same way. I totally agree. Listen, when you talk about people that live in the city of Detroit, you have a decrease of people that live in the city of Detroit. Of course, the stats are going to be different, but we know that people manipulate those statistics. I don't believe it. I don't believe that most of the people believe it. But you know what? It's a good sell. When you're trying to get people to move into the city of Detroit, you want to sell them a great bag of goods. And so you're going to say, hey, the crime rate is lower than it was. It hasn't been this low since 1964. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I don't believe it.
Allan Lengel?
I'm going to say that, look, I think, there is some manipulation sometimes in theft and break-ins.
Sometimes.
Well, yeah. I mean, every city does it. The city of D.C. is under investigation for manipulating numbers and stuff like that. It's and there's so much pressure on people in the department to lower those numbers. But that being said, homicides are a little bit tougher to manipulate. And I think when they reported 165 homicides compared to 203 in 2024, and then before that, there were 252. I think that's something, that, like you say, 165 homicides is still a lot of murders. But when you see from 2023 to now that it's gone down, the difference is almost 100. It's ridiculous to compare to, 1964 when the population was nearly triple. But, the makeup, there are a lot more people working in the factory. There was a lot more middle class. It was a different makeup of the city. I think economically, people were doing much better overall than they are now. So, but I still think that there's some reason to get, celebrate is too strong a word when you have 165 people who have died. But
yeah, but they celebrated, and they never mentioned how many of these murders have they solved.
Listen, how many? I wish you guys would go over to the courthouse and see how many murder trials are going on. I guarantee you it's more than 164.
Jim Nardone, our former police chief of Trenton. What did you think of those stats, being a former law enforcement officer?
First, I'm going to say hello to Derek. Good evening. Timothy Bay. Good evening to you. Tamika. Hey, Tamika. Dorian Denard, we missed you last night. I know you made a comment early. We never got back to you. My apologies. We've been waiting for you all day, too. Janet, overall, the birthday girl, Mr. 1213. First off, thank everybody for everything for on Wednesday night with Mike Cox for your comments. Everybody brought it, and I appreciated the comments. It was good. On the crime stats, Allan made a comment that people are getting pressure to manipulate. I'll just say this. What I hear Allan saying, this isn't what he said, but what I hear him saying is we're manipulating police executives to make crime look less than it is. I don't know if that's what you said, Allan. That's what it sounded like you said to me.
Well, I think there's pressure. Look, some people, I don't know if it is here, but I know in some departments, I don't know all the behind the scenes arrangements, but some departments are bonuses are based on crime stats of a chief.
Now, where did you hear that from? Because I've never heard a law enforcement professional ever get paid for more arrests or more. I think that's that's kind of the story.
So Jim, none of your officers had a quota of writing tickets. We always thought that the police departments had quotas of having a certain amount of ticket revenue.
Well, for most of my career was part of your performance evaluation, traffic enforcement, arrest, et cetera, et cetera. It's part of your performance evaluation. A small part, it can only be a very small part. In 2010, the state of Michigan legislature outlawed tickets being tied to any performance. So for at least 15 years, they cannot be used in any performance evaluation. A police officer cannot be evaluated on ticket production. Are some departments encouraging? Are there some departments like Taylor where they sit at Gardner White and everybody in Detroit knows about the Gardner White cops? I think it's disgusting, right?
Well, let me say here's some stuff here. It says that in DC it says police commanders, not explicitly the chief herself, can receive bonuses, accolades, or promotions, and that the chief put pressure on some of the officers not to says punish and remove officers reporting accurate crime numbers and fostered a toxic culture to achieve artificially low crime data. That department is under investigation. Whether it's a bonus or not, your job can sometimes depend on it. If
CompStat in New York, go ahead, Bill Bratton and Jack Maple, when they invented CompStat, it was to focus on where the crime was, and they would send the resources to the neighborhoods where crime is committed. And that turned out to be, in hindsight, not the best strategy because you're punishing a certain group of people, right? And CompStat worked. I'll tell you what, CompStat works. You focus on where the crime is and you attack those areas. But in hindsight, today, there's a lot of question about CompStat. But I had never, ever heard of people being paid a different salary because of crime stats.
I think they're certainly entitled to raises. I'm sure there's instances where a chief gets a raise, where the consul might say, I don't know, in Detroit or wherever, might say, look, the chief is getting a raise, and here's why. Murders are down 100 from 2 years ago or whatever. It just is common sense that's the way it works.
Well, maybe so, but this crime celebration reminds me of when we was in Vietnam. Only when we used to count 2 dead bodies from the Viet Cong, we said it was 12 that we killed. They inflated the numbers. This is just the opposite, where they deflate the numbers, saying, "Oh, we only had 165." I wonder how many murders of people that got killed that was justified. Now they tell me that we had another 100 that died. 50 of that was self-defense, or 50 was. You know what? I'm just suspect that they would come out and I know why they did it. But Duggan leaving office, he is claiming a victory lap that he unturned every fucking thing that was bad in Detroit. He unturned it fucking around, and we see only 165 Detroiters died this year compared to whatever. They never tell you how many of these these cases they solve. The amount of carjacking is down. Go ahead, Allan.
I was going to say, look, Duggan does get when I was in 2013, whatever, 14, whatever he took off. I think he was elected in 2013, 14. The lights were out. I would go visit, living downtown. I would go visit my father in, out in the suburbs. And I'd go down Grand River, all the streets, and there were just blocks and blocks of darkness. There were no street lights on and stuff like that. So there, granted, he
got money. He got fucking money, Allan. Listen, Duggan got everything. He got a buffet of everything. And I'm not saying Duggan was a bad man. Duggan he knew how to make some stuff happen. But a lot of this shit is smoke and mirrors. I don't believe it. It's a premature celebration. Fuck all that. Like I said, what about the 165 families that you claim that happened? It gotta be. I believe there was more. There was more, and they put it in a whatever category they put it in, but it didn't count as a murder.
Well, so we have but we have a viewer saying they don't feel safe. So statistics don't mean a damn thing.
Go ahead. Why don't you read something, Jim? Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, Vanessa, go ahead.
Okay. Stephanie Jackson, which is interesting, she said homicide should be going down because the population is growing and it is steadily declining, but not at alarming rates. I don't buy in the false narrative that Detroit population is growing. The numbers are rigged. Dorian Denard says the Gardner White cops still exist on Telegraph and Taylor. Eric said, let me say this. If anyone is a fan of the great HBO series, The Wire, it showed exactly how urban police departments hide the real crime numbers. Stephanie and Eric were going back and forth. Dorian says it's like a factory. How many days between accidents? Mr. Duckett says, I know what the numbers say, but I don't feel safe. G Money Hollywood. Good evening, G Money. He says, Eric, most American cities, large or small, play with the numbers. The police departments have a morale problem and they get off by taking fake accolades across the board. That's America. Timothy Squire Bay, shout out to you. He said, that's a lie. I personally know of 6 people this past summer. I think 6 people, I think he says, were murdered. Who else? That's just about that. Dorian says, do they count hit and runs as murder?
Well, now that's something. Plus, what about the missing people that we know that they didn't run away?
Well,
they not hiding from people.
She talks about the unidentified bodies in the Wayne County morgue that's just lying there, and there's no investigation. So
it has to be a homicide, recorded as a homicide.
So those are some of the comments that we have.
Computer systems are different today than they were 20, 30, 40 years ago, right? It's harder to manipulate numbers. You're putting in a state code for a crime, right? If it's a stolen car, there's a crime that goes attached to it. And those numbers should be accurate.
But I'm not talking about manipulating the numbers in the sense that you gotta count bodies, etc. I'm talking about the categories. How many different categories do the city has when it comes to a violent death? Yeah. Now what is this a murder? Is this a homicide? Is this self-defense? How do they count them? I'm just curious. How do they
be justifiable homicide? That's what people in the last few days are really confused about. A homicide is a homicide, whether it's justifiable or not. It should go in the system as a homicide.
I just want to say that, when we compare to whatever, how many years ago to back to 1965 or whatever, I mean, I've been to the crime center at the police headquarters. They've got screens all around the city. They've got Shot Spotter. They've got the green light thing. And I'm not saying they all work perfect.
No, it don't. They don't work. Don't
But
mean shit.
the
That don't mean shit when somebody's getting killed, 3 people in a house, babies getting shot up. It don't work.
But technology, DNA, science is
Why
improved.
can't we solve some of these cases like the Law and Order? We need to bring them to Detroit.
Well, I'm just
I agree with you that technology has gotten better. It's completely different than it was in 1964. But I also think that people are different than they were. And I don't want to say policing, but the way that they put out these numbers is different than what they did in 1964. And so I like I said at the beginning, I don't believe those numbers. When I saw it the other day, I was like, I don't believe it.
How many missing people we got in Detroit? How many missing persons?
I don't know.
But before we talk about that, let's take a break and we come back and continue the conversation. Detroit in black and white.
Hi, I'm Eric Sabri, your Wayne County Treasurer. Are you living in the home of a deceased family member and you're facing property tax foreclosure, or maybe you know someone who's in the same situation? The probate process may be helpful to you. If you file a probate petition and notify our office, the foreclosure proceedings will be halted during the probate process. We have several nonprofit partners who have free attorneys who can assist you. Contact our office, 313-224-5990, or email us at taxinfo@waynecounty.com. Don't lose your family property. Some of these properties have been in the family for 4 or 5 generations. Contact us now. We're here to help.
Okay. Yeah. As I was saying, what about the missing people?
So let me ask you guys a question. Can I go ahead, Allan? I was just going to ask you all a
I
question.
was going to say, well, missing people, I don't know what the number is. So I don't know what, obviously.
And we probably know majority of them are dead, murdered.
Some of them are and some are not, but we don't know.
Somewhat. Like what?
So I'm going to stand up for a second for the chief of the Detroit Police, Todd Bettison, and the men and women that work in the Detroit Police Department. You know, when somebody identifies, there's a ton of different categories, and Eric hit on that. But Vanessa can go on, I'm sure she can go into detail, right? A felonious assault, when it gets to court, when it ends up a simple assault, it goes from a 10-year felony to a 90-day misdemeanor. How it's adjudicated is more important than how the stats are kept in the beginning, right?
And Jim, I want to point out to our viewers, we do understand it, and on Detroit Black and White, we love Todd Bettison, but we all understand that his position is a political position. I don't think I have to say anything more.
Well,
Jim?
Well, I'm not going to disagree. It's the bigger the department, the more political it is, right? Here's a guy that could have been out of a job. You know, he was appointed by the previous mayor. We have a new mayor. He's not in the most powerful position when you're kind of in that little zone between, am I going to survive? Am I going to survive 5 years? I'm going to survive 5 weeks. That's what happens.
And I agree with you, Jim, because I know the Sharks, that's a part of the new mayor's team, probably wanted him out of there.
They want their person typically.
Yeah,
how they can control. That's how government and business works. They want their person in there that they believe is going to follow their agenda. And I give Todd credit. He's just like Mike Cox. Back to Mike Cox for just a second. Not a lot of people didn't agree with what he said, but he didn't change his position just because he was on Detroit in black and white. He stuck up for what he believed in. And I think Todd Bettison's that kind of a guy. I hope I'm not wrong. I don't believe I'm wrong, but I don't think he's fudging the numbers. I don't know. You go, a felonious assault turns into a simple assault. It turned into a felony. Now it's a misdemeanor, right? Assault with intent with a firearm turns into carrying a gun without a license, a CCW violation, right? A misdemeanor, whatever, unlicensed firearm. We need to know how these cases are adjudicated. That's what I think, Vanessa. Can you talk a little bit about that? I mean,
I'm busy looking at these
comments.
You know, somebody asked me if I was LGBTQ, but no. So I couldn't. I was busy answering that question.
Right.
I don't even know why they're asking that. But no, D. Hughes. No. Now, what did you say, Jim?
I was talking about what a case, where a case starts and where it begins. It may appear to be a non-natural death, and it may eventually be a suicide or a homicide. You don't know, right? It's a different code in the state system.
Absolutely.
I remember a case where a guy shot himself in the, where did he shoot himself? In the chest, got up and ran around the house. He's trying to kill himself, and he decided that didn't do it, and he shot himself again. It looks like a homicide, right? We're calling in state investigators. We're calling all kinds of people. You don't always know what the outcome is. One dead guy, no witnesses.
Did y'all charge him with murder?
We charge him with murder, yeah. Unfortunately, he lost his life.
Yeah.
But there's blood all over the house. It looks like a homicide when you go in the house and you see blood everywhere.
Well, yeah, but you know what?
Two parts.
But I think the biggest mistake that the city made was the way they announced the stats. I think if they would have went a matter of fact, this is the numbers, et cetera, but they got to throw in, oh, this is the lowest, this is this. Oh, the hijacking is down. Yeah, carjacking rather. I'm saying
where we're at. Isn't that just where we're at? We make up our own stories. That's how the whole world is working.
Right. Let me ask you this though, guys. In previous years, because I can't even remember previous years when they talked about the stats, was it all this fanfare, or was it just was it a blur?
Matter of fact,
it was a matter of fact.
I think when the stats have been down last year, they made a big deal of it too when the stats were down as well. I think when they're up, obviously they're not going to have a big press conference and say, "Oh, this is horrible." But they're as we say, the question becomes, I mean, do we call it really? They can't really celebrate 165 deaths. It's a lot of murders still.
What do we celebrate? The 10? There's 10 hit and run deaths. How do they classify them?
It's a homicide if it's a vehicular homicide.
Do they? I'm just wondering. Are you sure?
Drivers who kill somebody. That's.
Are you sure they include that? Are you sure they include that?
I'm pretty sure.
Don't know, but Adolph, what you're suggesting is the crime stats are propaganda, like the whole world is kind of.
Yeah, it is propaganda. There's pockets of our city, large pockets of our city, that is unsafe. That kids can't go out and play. They can't even go to bed sometimes sleeping, and people shooting up the house and shit. All kind of shit is happening in some of these places, and we saying, oh well, Corktown, Greektown, all the towns that the city unadopted, they safe. But you go over in Southwest Detroit, and you go to the West Side, and you go to the East Side, you go. There
Maybe
it is.
People aren't reporting crimes. Maybe there's another issue there.
People stop. They just like unemployment go down. But they don't tell you that 30% of the people that filed for that claimed unemployment this year didn't claim it. So the numbers, you get less people.
I think that the areas like downtown, midtown, the homicide rate has to be extremely low. Sherwood Forest, Palmer Woods, India Village. But there are other parts of the city where the crime rate remains too high, and it's still people don't feel safe.
They don't have enough cops to go in some of these places.
Right.
Go ahead.
They don't even patrol some of these places.
You Don't Like My Music's talking about dark crime and the goal of criminology, and he's also would like to abolish the Department of Homeland Security. And Homeland Security is somewhere I saw it in there. We're glad to see you with us again. You Don't Like My Music. Hopefully you're well. Abolish DHS, the Patriot Act, and all the post 9/11 overreach. I'm saying this is a friend of America.
Okay. Well, you know what? So, moving on from that, we had our new mayor having a public swearing in, and the media made a big deal of it. I'm just tired of hearing about her being the first. Let's get to work, because if they gonna use this for the next 6 months, you're really not gonna know what is happening in this new administration. Nobody's asking the tough questions on what is her agenda. I don't know. You know, is it did she talk about the? I didn't go, so I couldn't tell you what she said. What I know is a big part. I know it's a big party. You know, they had a great time, and they celebrating her being the first woman, the first African American woman. Okay, we got that. Okay, you made history. We got that. Now, what the fuck you gonna do about the crime in some of these neighborhoods? How you gonna bring them back? I don't hear any of that. You know, we got all these seasoned reporters running around. They know how to cover a good time, but they don't seem to me. They not asking the tough questions of this new administration. And why? If I was covering it, I don't know about you, Allan. My questions would be, why did you keep half of it was more than 5 people of Duggan's staff? She done kept all of the ones you don't know about, the no-name people. She done kept them all in place and stuff. And people like me that look at that, we know who's going to play a big role in making some of this stuff move in the city. He's running for governor. His name is Mike Duggan. He haven't left anywhere. This is his base, and he's gonna use her to keep his base motivated for him.
Well, I mean, it'll be interesting. Her father has said that he's not going to endorse Duggan, and
listen, we know how that played, because he want to get paid on the other side, because he gonna be telling folks. Yeah, I listen. I know how the game is played. One is with Duggan, one ain't with Duggan. So
I want to say this. One of our viewers, D. Hughes. Now, I don't know what their agenda is, but at any rate, I agree with D. Hughes. D. Hughes says, "Can she set up her desk?" Damn, she just got in the door. I mean, she was just, you know, as far as I'm concerned, she was just crowned yesterday. So when you say
she been in the fucking city 12 fucking years on the city council.
What do you want her to do? What do you want her to do?
They act like this shit is new.
She was sitting.
Give her a little time.
She had 6 months because she had nobody running against her. She had nobody running against her for 8 months. She should have had a whole fucking team, because she was crowned 8 months ago. That's bullshit. I don't care. So she got to learn. Put some training wheels on her. Listen, she said she gonna bring the city back. I don't give a fuck if she just walked in the door. She should have her agenda ready from day one. What was she gonna do on day one? You don't get a month or 2 months to make something happen on day one.
Who said it's been a month?
I said that's day one. Oh yes, it is. She been plotting this shit for 9 months, because she didn't have a race. She didn't run. She was crowned. She was crowned.
Just because she didn't tell you what she's gonna do doesn't mean she's not doing
it. Listen, why would she tell me what she's gonna do? Well, I'm a resident of this city. You know, see, a motherfucker like me is like a bed bug. She ain't gonna see me, but I'm gonna be crawling up her back. Yeah. Yeah, that's what we want to do. So yeah, crown them. I'm gonna be like the late philosopher Denny Green. If you want to crown us.
Listen, we're gonna ask everybody that's out there. We want you to not only like, subscribe, and share. We want you to join in the conversation. If you don't want to show your face, you don't have to show the video, but you can join in and be a guest here on Detroit Black and White. The link is right here.
Don't want to show my face either.
Okay, good.
So can I address G Money Hollywood? And I'll let you guys address it too. He said that's the way of a capitalist society. Police department's no different than a corporate 500 publicly traded fudging their numbers for Wall Street. Well, sure, absolutely. Everybody wants to look good, but some guy goes home, he's drunk, his wife starts hagging on, he shoots her and takes her out. That's not a reflection of the police department. You're talking about quality.
Nobody's saying that. Nobody. I don't think anybody on this panel is saying that. All I'm saying, I question the numbers.
But there was a time,
and I questioned the celebrations. That's what I questioned.
There was a time in Detroit where you could drive down the street and buy any size rock of cocaine you wanted in Southwest Detroit.
You still can.
There was a time where you could go up to the east side. Somebody was talking about the east side. I don't remember who.
You still can.
And buy a packet of heroin on the street. I don't believe it's like it was.
You still can.
Okay.
I do not. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not driving around.
Oh, you don't? Okay.
I'm just saying it's not as prevalent. It's not as out in the open as it was.
Where they selling it, and then people OD in.
You say
I'm talking about
out as
quality of
open
life.
as it was. You don't have as many people as
crime. But crime doesn't have to be as out open. I mean, prostitutes and stuff like that, they got cell phones. They don't have to stand on the corner anymore.
Absolutely.
I don't care. You don't like my music. If you want to sit in your house and smoke crack, that's okay with me. I'm talking about what people complain about in society. They complain about prostitution. They complain about drug dealers waving guns and at that time selling crack on the streets. If it's going on, it may still be going on in Detroit. Maybe some of our friends can tell us, but it's not like it was in 1993. I can tell you that.
Doria Denard says she has a plan, a makings of a plan. We're about to have a $400 million deficit soon. Ain't no planning around that. Oh my goodness.
No, stiffer sensing doesn't do anything, like my music, especially for a $20 rock of cocaine. Sorry, go ahead. I'm done.
Stephanie says women can change the world, so give her a little time to work her grace.
And
Angela Beatty, good afternoon. Ira Todd, what's up? He says, great show. Tell it like it is, Adolph. Miss Sheila says Mr. Adolph has some raw funny. You also have Park Org made a comment. I want to go back to his comment. Their comment. Adolph, Mary Sheffield has no agenda. She's a charlatan and a con, just like her dad. Lord Jesus, have mercy.
Did I say cocaine should be illegal? I don't care if people use cocaine. That's their choice, but they shouldn't be out in the street.
At the turn of the 20th century, cocaine was legal.
It's about personal responsibility is the issue. It's about killing people on the street corner.
Yeah.
It's about quality of life, and that's what gets the people upset. They don't get upset when somebody down the street kills their wife or husband. They might get upset for that day, but they realize it's an isolated incident. The police shouldn't be, in trouble because somebody killed their wife, right?
The policemen kill their wives, so
Yeah. Why don't we do a commercial and we'll come back?
Why don't we?
Hi, I'm Eric Sabri, your Wayne County Treasurer. If you're living in the home of a deceased family member and you're facing property tax foreclosure, the probate process can be helpful to you. If you file a probate petition and notify our office, the foreclosure proceedings will be halted during the probate process. Contact us at 313-224-5990 or email us at taxinfo@waynecounty.com. We're here to help.
Okay, we're back.
Yeah. I'm looking through some of the.
I was going to say the drug trade. The drug trade. I mean, there's a lot of pills out on the street. Marijuana made a big comeback out on the street, but now there's a million dispensaries. So it's probably it's a different game, but people are always making money illegal.
But you're right, Jim. Jim's right about out in the open. They're not out in the open, but the shit hasn't gone away. And I think people complain in neighborhoods about lack of grocery stores, unsafe gas stations, and party stores, and all that other shit. Besides murder and mayhem. Go ahead, Vanessa.
Eric Brown says the news conference is simply another ploy to strengthen the narrative that the white man saved all the Negroes in Detroit. Part Orks asks, Vanessa, can you imagine life without Adolph? No, not at all. We also have Dorian Denard says only real bad area in Detroit is the 48205 area, basically the northeast side.
That's not true.
And we also have, let's see, I think I've read quite a few of the comments. To Mary, Tasmania says Mary should, could you put it back up?
Is it this one?
Mary should be focused on global agendas like forestry and farming. That's interesting.
We can become beekeepers.
I think, yeah, but you know what do you guys feel about the urban farming in the city of Detroit? The reason I ask is because day before yesterday I was off of Finkel and Burwood, the block over, and they had this. First of all, it's not many houses on the street, not many at all. You have just vacant lots. And there is this big urban farm over there, and some little makeshift sign that they put up, and I'm like, wow, this is what we got going on in a major city.
But that's not new. I don't have a problem with that. Most of the black folks when I was growing up came from the South. We always had gardens, but every other person that I know that lived in Detroit had a garden.
Backyards. They had them in a back. I'm talking. These are were they not?
So I'm not upset that they took a whole vacant blocks and growing vegetables or whatever they growing.
Let's see what happens after a while with them growing that. Let's see who takes over that. Okay, because that's not gonna. I don't believe that's gonna. As soon as they believe that this is a money making venture.
It's not a money-making venture.
No, it's not.
It's a community thing. I know
it's not that now. I'm saying as soon as
you have to deal with it. But the bottom line is
there's not enough space to make it. I mean, when you go out in the country, you see acres and acres and acres. I mean, we're talking about a block here and there. I think it's good. It's great. People get vegetables and fruits, and they give them away. Or
they always got vegetables and fruits. And I got sick of folks writing about, the Detroiters don't have no vegetables or fruit. I know when I was growing up, there's vegetables. All the shit that I used to eat, I didn't have to buy from the store until I went away to school. Yeah. So I like that kind of stuff, but no, that's not what we should. The whole city should be a farm. No. You need to redevelop some of these neighborhoods and get people to move in it. So
I got a question. I'd like to ask the panel. What do you guys think about trying to entice more immigrants from different parts of the world?
Always said we needed to bring in folks from the Congo, Rwanda, any place. I'm all for it, but in this climate, good luck.
Yeah.
Right. You said, what do you think we should do? I agree with Adolph. If I was an immigrant, I would stay far, far away. I wouldn't be trying to come here at all. But I mean, you see ICE and you see what's going on with ICE. No, thank you.
Yeah.
that's kind of unfair to what's going on in our community. It's always been welcoming, whether it's Dearborn, whether it's Detroit, whether it's
It
Hamtramck.
should be. This
You know,
country,
go ahead.
this country was founded on founded with immigrants, and I think it's awful as to what's going on. I do think that there needs to be a process, that you just can't just come here and not go through the legal process. But the way things are going now, I think people are really afraid to come here, and that's really unfortunate.
People been coming here legally, illegally since this country was founded. So, but the bottom line is,
came here in '48 legally. They went through New York, came from Europe, got processed, had all their proper papers, all that stuff. But
but I told Kwame Kilpatrick when he was the mayor during Katrina, when they was displacing all the folks, I said, you need to welcome some of those people from New Orleans to Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
Our man was not bringing some of those people crazy. So,
Thank you, everybody, for your comments.
When you talk about the people from New Orleans from Katrina?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I've got quite a few people that moved from New Orleans here.
But most of them moved to Houston. Houston welcomed them. And of course, you welcome some folks you don't want to be in your city, but that's all part of it. And I know
Didn't they start in Canada? Didn't they start in Canada and go to New Orleans? Isn't that what happened?
Yeah. That's 300, 400, 500 years ago or whatever.
I think eventually, if we have a new administration, look, if Detroit wants to be a first-rate city, you can't be driving through areas of the city where there's like wide swaths of empty fields and abandoned homes and stuff like that. I mean, you don't see that. You go to Washington, D.C., you see like maybe 3 or 4 empty storefronts in the whole city. You maybe see a few abandoned homes here and there. But, Detroit is like, when people come to Detroit, they're like, holy shit, I can't believe this. And
because they can't believe we got all this land and not doing any fucking thing with it. It's
a huge city, huge.
Well, that's that. But I blame our city leaders, because when you got folks, but I'll go back to Mike Cox, and I agree with Mike Cox when he said, "Why would you have to pay somebody to build shit here? Got to give them 500-year tax breaks and all kind of shit. And they making all this money, or I'll build you a stadium. We'll give you all the money, and they come in here and they give you a basketball court, over in Rouge Park. That's what the Pistons did when they got the facility, 40 million or whatever million. It's just unbelievable that we don't make any demands. And I know when Coleman Young was the mayor, he said he had to bribe folks to come here. He couldn't give away shit for free to some of the folks. They didn't want to come here.
Listen, I agree with some of the things that our guest Mike Cox said, but to me, he sounds just like a seasoned politician. Sorry,
he is a seasoned politician. That's why he's running for governor. That's why he was retired for 20 years and he running for governor. So he is a politician.
He answered the question like a lawyer. He answered the questions that he wanted to answer. He answered the questions like a politician. And so what I say to people is this: everything you hear, don't believe it.
Will you talk to
what it is?
Will you talk to some of our friends, Vanessa? We don't want
to. Tamara Kimmett said, no, Vanessa, it wasn't. Black people were first and misidentified as Indians. Dorian Denard says capitalism and racism go together like Jim and Crow. D. Hugh says that New Orleans crew was ratchet boomboxes in hotel lobbies. Tamara Kimmett says this country was stolen, not founded. Dorian Denard says Detroit has been for sale since the Purples ran the city. You don't like my music says capitalism can exist without racism, but racism can exist without capitalism. Mr. 1213 says Mike Cox was spot on about the education system problem. And Dorian Denard says Cox is full of shit, like I told y'all the other night.
Okay. Full of shit. Okay.
And I think that is it. That is it.
Michelle,
Yeah.
Mary.
Power Org says Detroit, Vanessa, if Detroit truly want to celebrate a first woman mayor, it should have elected Crystal. It should have elected Crystal Crittenden. You know, I used to see her. I haven't seen her in quite some time. I don't know where she is. G Money says, Adolph, that is the only reason GM and Ford are still here. It's based on tax breaks. Trust me, without them, Detroit will be wiped off the map.
Wait a minute. GM ain't here.
Yes,
GM got how many people they got here, Allan, in Detroit?
I think they're going to have about 1,000 people.
Where's the real headquarters at?
Headquarters in Warren, or there's like 13 or 14,000 people. That's where Mary Barra spends a lot of time. That's where the car designers are. Yeah, I mean, it's more for show. I mean, it's nice.
They should go on trial for what they did to the Renaissance Center. Soon as they got in the Renaissance Center, they moved all the stores out, all of the everything that was in there, and turned it into a ghost town. And here we got. How long that's gonna be standing? I'm forming the Friends of the Renaissance Center. You can't tear it down. You can't tear it down.
So you're saying the new
Save
the world headquarters GM are for show, Adolph? Is that what you're saying again? The new show on the new GM headquarters on Woodward are just for show?
Well, they'll have 1,000 people there. Whatever, they'll have their logo up there. It's good.
They playing a fucking shell game, you know. That's some bullshit. It's like a Hollywood movie set, the old Western. It's nothing in the back. It's just a town, a face of a town, and you look in the back, and it's been held up by 2x4s.
It should be housing. The rent center should be housing. They could put 5,000 apartments in the rent center.
Well,
and they need about 1,000 police because you have people being thrown out of up the 72nd floor and shit. Don't tell me. Oh, there's another one falling out of the Renaissance Center.
I want to just go back just to drop. We're talking about bringing foreigners in. We have Bangladeshis right around Carpenter. It's part of it's in Detroit, part of it's in Hamtramck. You have a huge Bangladeshi population. They've lined up one of the streets with a lot of restaurants. They've got butcher shops and everything. They've created a community. There's Banglatown Park.
And you know, people that's against immigrants gonna say, yeah. And they coming over here and they slaughtering goats and sheep in the backyards. They playing that sound every fucking at 12 o'clock, at 5 o'clock or whatever.
It's Hamtramck. They're doing that in Hamtramck. Hamtramck passed an ordinance, I think, in 2024. Or 2023.
And they bringing all they prejudice and all the other shit that they got over there. They bringing it here.
You can do religious slaughter,
be burning brides like they do over in India and shit. So I can tell you, I can be against immigrants because I can say all the crazy things that people would probably say. Orbit Hubbard was fighting to keep black folks out of Dearborn. The Arabs came in and did an end run around that, and there they are. I have no problem with people coming here and making a living and doing what they need to do. Because I always said when they had those wars in the Congo and Rwanda, we need to bring. I know they weren't going to let these folks come over here, but when it was war in Bosnia, Clinton welcomed all of them. Come on over and shit. It's just, hey.
All right. May I? Let me finish my sentence that I tried 5 minutes ago. Okay. In Hamtramck, I was saying in 2023 or 24, they allowed an ordinance. You could have religious slaughter in your backyard, which meant you could kill a goat, a sheep, or whatever. They do have the call to prayer is also, but those are cultural things that look, we don't. I mean, every culture has different things, you know. I mean, they tried to accuse what was the Haitians and you know, eating cats and dogs, which wasn't true. But you know, there's certainly an element of assimilation.
But,
I mean,
but nobody's gonna say don't let the Chinese in because they eat dogs over there.
right.
You know, they love a little puppy. Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna go to some of the comments. G Money Hollywood says GM is still headquartered in Detroit. I don't care how many people work out of Warren. GM says face for Detroit, especially on a global respect level. Miss Sheila says, I know when you're right, Mr. Jim. Jim, you also have an admirer. D. Hughes says you are fine. You know, what about all that empty office real estate since the pandemic converted to public housing? Mr. 1213 says homeless people are now sleeping inside the Renson near the Winter Garden area. Eric Brown says Detroit does not have the money to pay reparations. Tamari Kimmett says they don't want African Town. Ira Todd has laughing emojis. Debrag 921 says, and they are racist AF, me as you know what.
Does he mean General Motors? Is that who he's talking about? Or is
Who? I think they're talking about the immigrants coming in. I think he's really, okay. I should say DeBragg is really talking about the comments that Allan was making.
I understand. Okay.
Yeah.
I was.
You also have, what tastes like chicken? Somebody says something tastes like chicken.
Puppies, I think.
Okay. And Wano. Hey, Wano, the problem is the same people who cause these issues are still in power with the same lame ideas, and we are being represented by sellouts like Adolph. Wano said you a sellout.
I'm going to say, hey, Ronald, if I'm a sellout,
Wino,
listen, I've been called worse.
You better bring it, Wano.
You got to come with more than I'm a sellout because he move on. He doesn't count in life.
It says they love a little puppy. He says, Ira says you on fire tonight, Adolph. Miss Sheila
I'm a
says
sellout.
Here in Bloomfield Hills, ouchie. Wano says, as long as I ain't called lies. Okay. And Miles Wilson said all-star crew this Friday.
Well, you know, I like people when they criticize you. Keep watching the show.
Right.
Keep with the comments and stuff. Because, you know, listen, I've been called worse. And I probably will be.
Well, I'll tell you, I have never been, I mean, I'll say it people, but I've never been mistaken for anything other than a full-grown, fine-ass woman. So, I don't know where you got that from. I'm like really bothered. I'm like, what in the hell look like?
I thought I saw you in a gay bar too.
Okay, absolutely. But anyway,
that's okay. So is there money for reparations? What's the new mayor going to do about reparations?
Nothing.
Mary says there's money.
I don't think it's going to happen.
Nothing. She didn't do nothing with reparations when she was the president of the city council. She didn't do nothing with the Conservancy when she was on city council. Listen, nothing. She'll have somebody else do something, but she won't do it. And nothing from nothing leaves nothing.
And Vanessa's fine. Dial a date. Dial a date on Detroit Black and White.
Adolph, Bobby Sanchez says, where's the red? He's asking about your red Mustang. You got a tick. You
know, I sold that Mustang.
I like Miss Sheila. When she says something, she means it, and she says it. She's always to the point.
Right.
I'm kidding. Thank you.
Okay.
She's going to hold Mr. Cox accountable for what he said about deed fraud. Thanks, Mr. Cox. I just, you know.
James Tate is the president of city council.
Is that good or bad?
It ain't got to get
Yeah, I
nothing
was
done.
gonna say that. Yeah. Go ahead, Adolph.
Hey, listen, he's a safe pick. He's a safe pick. You know, listen, he's not going to cause any controversy,
Right.
and he's going to do much.
And
Right.
what's the mayor pro tem? What's that role like? Vice.
Nothing. Taking orders.
Yeah.
Not, listen, that's a good role for Coleman. Mayor pro tem. You know,
What's the role? What's the role of the
City
pro tem?
Council Pro Tem.
What's the role? What's the role of your appendix?
What the mayor pro tem is like the mayor in waiting, right?
Well, that would be the City Council.
Thank you, Ms.
It's the
Sheila.
third in line for being mayor. Yeah.
Mayor pro tem is like it's done differently.
No, I just it's like,
so he's like
what
the Speaker of the House.
What do they do?
So Coleman's like the Speaker of the House when it comes to.
No, there ain't no Speaker of the House.
I mean,
No.
After the Vice President.
Speaker of the House is powerful.
Well, next in line would be the deputy mayor, right?
No,
No.
it's City Council President.
City Council President.
really?
Don't you guys remember that happened before? It was Kenneth Cockrell, wasn't it?
Yeah, and if he would have waited, one month, they pushed Kwame out. If they let him stay 1 month, he wouldn't have had to do a special election, and he wouldn't have got beat by Dave Bean. Hey, so yeah, they were so in a hurry to get to the 11th floor, and he only stayed on there about 5 or 6 months.
Right.
But I tell you, Vanessa, Jim, and Allan, it's going to be a very good year. All the sellouts are running the city, and on the podcast, we just don't know what to do. People don't like what our thoughts. You got your thoughts, I got my thoughts. So, that's the way it's going to be. Final thought right there, Allan Lengel.
I don't have any real final thoughts, except I want to say that
the Lions and the Tigers.
I go to the Pistons. The Pistons are the hottest talk on sports talk, where they go ESPN or whatever.
You shouldn't even say their name because you're gonna bring them bad luck, Allan.
That's true. That's true. I mean, every team is fizzled. I mean, the Tigers were the best team in baseball for the first half. They were the worst team the second half. The Lions had a very kind of pathetic ending, but they'll be back. So
okay, Jim.
There's always last year. That's my motto.
Yeah,
always last
the
year.
Lions will be good next year.
I just want to say this. Let's call for transparency in the mayor's office, and let's give Mayor Sheffield an opportunity to govern. She has her opportunity. Let's hope that she goes ahead and does it, but let's not call her out before she's had the opportunity to do something. That's
she had 12 years to do something. Okay, go ahead, Vanessa. Your final thoughts.
My final thoughts is I want to say thank you, Edward All. He says thanks for another great show. Miss Sheila, Tamiri. Tamiri made a suggestion that we have somebody on the show to talk about reparations. I think that's something that we could look into. But what I want to say is we thank you all for participating. We thank you all. You could be doing something else on a Friday evening, but you sitting up here listening to us talk junk. So we thank you for that. We want you to come back tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. We want you to take advantage of that link. We want you to come on in. Miss Sheila did it. Miss Tracy has done it. You guys can do it. Tell all your friends about Detroit in Black and White, the greatest show on these YouTube streets. Listen, it is always hot, hot, hot over here.
Okay.
Tomorrow morning.
Hey, I'll tell you what I think of the new administration, and I'll repeat it again. Nothing from nothing leaves nothing. You gotta have something. If you want.
Isn't that Billy Preston?
I don't believe in no zero. I'm no hero.
The fifth deal, right? Billy Preston.
Billy Preston, a boy genius.
Right, right.
Yeah, speaking of boys, he had a little trouble with some boys, but that's another story for another time.
Yeah, that's what. Well, he was raped as a kid. Ain't no question. He was raped. He didn't. He had a problem with his sexuality. That's another show.
Brilliant musician for sure.
We'll be back tomorrow. I won't be on the show tomorrow, but you'll have Vanessa, Jim, and Allan, and we'll continue with Detroit in black and white.